Hi, welcome to yoga, Lavender Yoga here. We are going to focus a little bit more on the upper body and the chest and opening up. So if you've had a harder workout and you just feel a little bit of tightness in the shoulders or the upper back, the front of the chest, clavicle area, we're going to start to open up that area. Typically in a day-to-day life for most people, we're doing something where we're hunching forward, right? So we're driving a car or we're on our phones, on our computers, writing. Any of that type of activity will bring our shoulders forward and tend to start to tighten up the front of the chest. So we're really going to work on opening up the front of the chest, find some mobility in the shoulders, just starting to loosen up the body. So if you've had, like I said, a hard workout, or if you've been working today and you just want to kind of open up the chest, if you work in a hospital, if you're a nurse, you might be on the bedside tending to people, doing charts, or on the computer, that might be something that would bring you into this motion here forward. And throughout the rest of the day, then you drive home, then you're on your phone, we just tend to do this a lot. So we're going to start really in the opposite of that position. We're going to open it up. So you're going to need a strap, 2 blocks, and a bolster. If you don't have a strap, you can use a belt. If you don't have blocks, you can use books or something that kind of looks like the height, like a disinfectant bottle, wipes. Those tend to work for some people. Some of my students use them if they don't have blocks. But if you have a home practice, I'd really encourage you to have 2 blocks and a strap at least, if not a bolster. That would be great. If you don't have a bolster at home, you can use a firm pillow. That will work just fine. So I'm going to take at the top of my mat, my block at the highest height, my block at a medium height. You want to make sure you have a semi-firm block, that they're not flimsy, especially with a restorative pose like this, because they will topple over. And if it's a thinner block, you want to make sure it's that standard size yoga block. So I'm going to take the blocks like that. I'm going to take the top of the bolster and just kind of make sure it's really secure and steady. So it's going to be touching that top block, and then that second one's there for support. So when I do lay down on it, I have some support there. I'm going to take my butt right up against the edge of the bolster. So just maybe a few inch gap or so. And then I'm going to bend my knees. And I'm going to slowly just take my hand on the right and the left and roll back onto my support. So do this slowly. You want to make sure that you really are supportive and you're not going to roll from one side or the other. You can feel really stable and secure here and just kind of let go. And then I'm going to take my arms out. So you can do this any variation. And if you feel like it's too much, you can take some blocks underneath your hands, or you can just keep your hands on the belly. Maybe that's just not where you're at today. So I'm going to take my arms out, away from the body with the palms facing up. Go ahead and bend the knees. Place the feet onto the mat. And we're just going to start here with a few calm breaths. Starting to tune into the body. And you'll notice the further away your hands are from the center of the body, the more opening you'll feel through the chest and the shoulders. So closer in, a little bit less, you can let the elbows rest onto the mat. Or if you start to straighten the arms, take them out further, you're going to feel that opening a little bit more. In my body, I tend to have a great amount of tightness in my chest and my shoulders. So you might even notice on one side of your body, one arm might feel different. If you favor one side, if not. And go ahead and close the eyes if you haven't already. We're just going to take a few breaths here, starting to feel into the body. So in the physical body, is there anything that calls out to you that maybe feels uncomfortable? And if so, is that something that you can fix? Can you change your body position to make it feel more comfortable so that you really can release into this bolster and let your props and the mat completely support you? So there's very minimal effort in the body at the moment. The fingertips are curling up, the legs are relaxed, upper body is relaxed, the back is relaxed. And then what about the jaw? Can you relax the jaw? Press the tongue against the bottom teeth. And just take a few breaths here. A few moments in silence, just breathing in and out through the nose. Starting to tune into your body and quieting the mind. Take a moment here. Good. Breathing out a few more times here. And setting an intention for your practice if you'd like to do that. Maybe a word or a mantra. And just really letting go of all of the thoughts that might be running across the mind. Giving yourself this time, giving your body this time, giving your energy this time to really focus on yourself, focusing on your practice, being very present in the moment as each moment comes. Bring the hands into the belly, feeling the belly for a moment. One hand on the upper belly, one hand on the lower. Feeling the belly expand as you take that big deep breath in through your nose and feeling it come back as you exhale. The deeper the breath, more nourishment for the body. The last breath here, inhale. And exhale, release. Okay, take the hands onto either side and roll off to whatever side feels comfortable for you, off of the bolster, off of the blocks, and come on up. Good. We're going to remove that bolster and those blocks, and we're going to sit on our knees here. But if it doesn't feel comfortable for you to do that, you can take a block underneath you. Give yourself a little bit of height. You could do this with multiple blocks. So you could do it with a bolster on its lowest level on the wide setting so that both of your sit bones can rest evenly on that block. And then if you're going to sit as me with a block, just look back at the feet really quick and notice if the feet are sickling in or sickling out. So if you can just make sure that the heels are in line with that second toe. If you have a strap close, go ahead and grab it. And we're just going to start to warm up with that upper body here. So you're going to take the strap unlooped, just a nice long strap here. Rest it on top of the lap. And we're going to work with that mobility of the shoulder. So we're going to take the strap wider than shoulder distance apart. Okay, so maybe about 6 inches wider than shoulder distance. And we're just going to take it from the lap up to the shoulders on an inhale. So even with the shoulders here, and then on an exhale, nice smooth release. Good. Keep that going. Inhale, fill the belly up. And exhale, release. I know it's not a big movement at the moment. Maybe it is. If you're really sore, this can be a very big movement here. You are pulling the strap tight, so not too tight where you're gripping, but just enough to not have any slack through the strap. And you should be able to feel something in the shoulders or the upper back. Good. One more. And exhale, release. If you can keep this and not poke the ribs out, I'm going to give you a side view here. If you can keep that a few inches more than shoulder distance apart and not go into a back bend jutting the ribs out, then I want you to stay like that. If you do start to feel that back bend come, I want you to take the arms wider. So you're going to be here, firm the belly slightly, And then on an inhale from the lap, you're gonna go all the way up toward the ceiling. Now, about here, about 3/4 of the way, that's when you might start to feel that back bend. You don't wanna come into a back bend. You wanna keep the ribs in toward the frontal hip points. So if that's the case, take the arms as wide as they need to be so that you can lift the arms up toward the sky without poking those ribs out. Exhale, lower down. Good, keep that going. Inhale, nice big full breath as you lift. Chin is parallel to the ground. You're rooting down through the sitting bones, and you're reaching the crown of the head up toward the sky. Good, keep it going. Nice big breath in. Nice slow movement here. You're just trying to find a little bit of range of motion through the shoulders, through the arms, warming that area up. Good. 2 more here. And same thing, you're keeping that strap without any slack. If that feels really difficult or hard for you, then just take it a little bit wider. You can always come up onto a block if you're sitting on your knees and your knees start to feel uncomfortable. You want to give yourself a little bit of height. It might make it feel more comfortable for the knees. Good. Exhale, go ahead and release. Shake the shoulders out. Take that strap back behind you now. And we're going to go from our butt up. So, same thing, a little bit wider than shoulder distance. Now here, what might tend to happen if the shoulders are really tight, the shoulders might be rolling in. So I want you to firm the belly, shoulders up, back, and down, so you have a nice long spine. Pull that strap a little bit away from each other, nice and tight. And then on an inhale, use the tricep muscles, lift up away from the back. Good. So you're not going shoulder distant here. You're just going, like before, a few inches up, a few inches down. Good. Nice big breath. Inhale on the lift and exhale on the lower. Good. 2 more. Lift. Slow release. These are really slow, subtle movements here. You're warming up this area, really starting to hone in, making sure that those ribs aren't poking out here either. Okay, good. Roll those shoulders out. Good. Take that strap in front of you. So now we're going to go all the way up and over. And if this is too much for you, you're just going to go up and down, just like we did before. So up to the ceiling and then down. I need a significantly wider stance with my shoulders to be able to get this done. So I am going to take that strap a little bit wider than I had it before. So here you go. Open up, ribs in, jaw relaxed, and you're going up to the sky. So this is a slow movement. You really want to feel the shoulders, feel the body here. If this is enough, you stay here. If you can open up even wider and go all the way back, feel that stretch through the shoulders, through the front of the chest. Good, then bring it back. Lift up on an inhale, and exhale, lower. Now for some people, some bodies, this is a lot of movement, but you are finding that full range of motion through the shoulders, through the chest. I like it about 1/4 of the way on the down on this. I feel a big opening through my shoulders, specifically the shoulder heads, and just a little bit through the front of the chest, maybe even the armpit area a little bit. I like to do a new movement with, no weight or very, very little weight. And I noticed how incredibly tight my shoulder is. So I thought, oh my gosh, we need to open up those shoulders, and I know so many other people do too. So thank you for being my inspiration. Go ahead and release the strap. But shake it out a little bit. Good. Okay, we're going to do something, I just call these swimmers. Sometimes I teach them when people are standing, and sometimes it's okay to do them when we sit. So it's just like you're taking that freestyle motion. So you're just rotating with the trunk, and you're reaching one arm in front of the other. So really feeling that 360-degree circle all the way here. And then back. And you guys cannot hear this, hopefully, on this video, but I can hear my chickens. They are running around the backyard right now, and they are very noisy this morning, which is not common for them. They're pretty quiet little girls. All right, and release. Good, shake it out a little bit. Okay, we're gonna take that strap once again, and you're gonna put it over your left shoulder. Now, the strap is here as an option. I like to just set up with it if we need it. If you don't need to use the strap and you can hook the arms, you're gonna go ahead and do that. So you're gonna take the left arm, lift it up toward the sky, toward the ear. You're gonna bend at the elbow and either grab that strap or you're gonna grab the arm. You're gonna take the right arm out, thumb down, move the hair out of the way, and you're either going to hook the fingertips or you're gonna hold on to the strap. So one arm goes up to the top, one arm holds on to the bottom, or you're gonna interlace the fingertips. It's like that old stretching movement that they made you do in gym class, right? For the physical test, to see if you could do this. Now, one side of my body is a little bit tighter than the other right now, and so there is going to be a difference here for my body. Is there a difference for yours? Do you notice maybe on one side of the body something feels a little bit different? But go ahead and release. Take that strap over the other shoulder. And maybe you didn't use it on the first side, but maybe you need to use it on the second side. So same thing, you're going to take that right arm back behind you, move the hair out of the way, and then take that left arm up, bend at the shoulder, and here. Good. So for me, this side feels a little bit easier, which is interesting to me, but I will say, yoga is this incredible practice where it makes you become so in tune with your body that you notice these things in your day-to-day life, like I did. Like in a weightlifting session, I noticed something that maybe I would have bypassed before I became a yoga teacher and became very into yoga. It's been a long time now that I've been practicing, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if I would have noticed, or maybe I wouldn't have thought as much into it of I needed to, help it out a little bit. Maybe I would have ignored it, and it could lead to injury, which is pretty dangerous. Okay, go ahead and release that. Take that strap. Let's get off our knees. Bring that block out. And we're going to come straight back into a child's pose. So toes together, knees out, and reach forward. And now here, you can have the forehead onto the block. If the forehead does not meet the mat, the forehead can go onto the block. If it does, that's great. If not, that's great too. You just want to have that forehead touching something, that sense of touching the mat, the block, the bolster, whatever you have. If you don't have any props, you can always just cross your arms and be here and just have it resting there. Good. Let's thread the needle here. We're going to take the right arm underneath the left with the right palm facing the ceiling. Release that weight onto the right shoulder as comfortable as you can. You don't want to put too much so you're overstretching here. That left arm is extending. Press into the fingertips. And then that right hand is underneath facing up. You're still pressing back through the heels. Nice long spine here. Wrapping that left tricep, the left outer upper arm under. You'll feel a greater stretch in through that armpit area as you create that motion. Good. Take a few more breaths here. And bring back to center. Right arm extends. Left arm comes under. If you have any props, scooch them out of the way. And now if you are watching this video as I talk, I know sometimes it's, you want to take a peek up. Do as I say, not as I do, because your forehead should be more comfortable on the mat. I do not have my forehead on the mat because I want to keep my voice very clear for you. So if you've noticed that my forehead in this position is not on the mat, that is why, because Want to make sure you can hear me so I don't sound muffled. Good, now that motion with that right arm, wrap that outer upper arm under, feel that armpit open. And so you're getting like this double stretch of the shoulders and the chest area, the armpit. Feels really good for the body, hopefully. And then extend back out, both arms, reach, reach, reach. Good. Now you're going to bring the fingers in together, press the palms in, and then you're going to reach the thumbs to go back toward the spine. Good. Now they might not touch the spine, that's okay. You don't want to feel hunched and rounded. You just want to feel an opening through the underarms, through the chest, through the ribs, the upper back. This should feel like a good little juicy stretch here. So the thumbs do not have to touch the spine. Pressing the elbows down into the mat. And continuing to sit those hips back toward the heels. We're going to get off the knees completely very soon, I promise. Good, and release. Arms out. Press into the hands. Look forward. We're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. So press the hands into the mat, shoulder distance, if not wider. If you're tight, then consider taking the arms slightly, or the hands slightly toward the long edges of your mat. So instead of the fingers facing forward, they can come out to the right and the left a little bit. Look forward in between the hands, lift the hips up, press into the toes, and downward facing dog. Good, now here, you're gonna walk a little bit side to side. So rotating, bending one knee, straightening the opposite. And again, oh, nice big opening. My legs are tight, my shoulders are tight. Everything feels a little creaky in my old age. As I get older, it gets harder. Good, take some good juicy breaths here. Big full inhales, big full exhales. Good, then see if you can lift the toes, bend the knees, stick the sitting bones up and back. Heels release down toward the mat, even if they don't touch, and maybe you straighten through the legs a little bit. Good, look back at the feet, walk the hands back toward the feet. Good, grab those blocks if you have them near. We're just going to open up through the lower body. And inhale, press into the hands or the blocks, lift up, nice long spine. Good, maybe here, bend into one knee, bend into the other. Sometimes I like to do this through my practice. Some days I don't. Some days I do. I just like to feel the outer hips a little bit in a little bit of a different way. Good, inhale, lift, reach up. And exhale, bend the knees, fold, completely release. Everything comes in toward the midline of the body. And inhale, come up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, press up into the feet, or press into the feet. Lift the arms out, around and up, come toward the sky. Palms touch. And exhale, hands to heart. Let's do a little bit of half Surya. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hinge, full forward fold. Inhale, halfway lengthen. This is a little modified here. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet. Inhale, arms out, around and up. Reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Got a few more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. Nice long breath in as you lift halfway. Exhale, release. Press through the feet. Inhale, reach up to the sky. And exhale, lower. Hands to heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge. Last one here. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, release. And press up. Exhale, hands to heart. Good, just getting a little heat throughout the body. Go ahead and grab your strap. We're going to do a few more postures with our strap as we stand. So we're going to get a little bit of spine mobility and kind of work on those shoulders a little bit more. So take those blocks out of the way. You won't need them for a little bit. Same thing, shoulder distance, if not wider, apart. So lift up to the sky, feet are hip distance. And you're going to pause here. So pause as your fingers are up toward the sky. Firm the belly and keep the frontal hip points facing straight forward. So if you're not turning the hips here, you're trying to get some rotation in the upper body and the spine. So firm down through the feet, firm the belly in just a tiny bit, and then rotate to the right. Now that right arm is reaching back behind you. Left arm is coming forward. Exhale back to center. Inhale. And exhale. Second side. Good, do that again. Inhale, come back. And exhale. Good, keep going with these rotations. You might feel something in the upper back. Now here, you might want to, your body might want to go like this and shrug the shoulders, but release the shoulder blades down the back. Good. You always want to exhale on a twist. It gives your body that space as the lungs release the air out of the body. It makes it a little bit easier. You can find a little bit more mobility to move. Good. And release. We'll do a few more of those up and over with the strap, so take it a little bit further. Inhale, come all the way up and over. And up and over. Good. Notice how it feels now compared to the first time you did it. Do you feel a little bit more mobility? And back. Good. Last one. And back. Good. And release. Roll out the shoulders a little bit. All right. Take that strap down. We're going to interlace the hands back behind us. So if you still need to use that strap, if this is not a comfortable position for you and it feels really strenuous to just interlace the hands back behind you and not even lift, then use the strap. I would definitely recommend that. And maybe you're just a little bit tighter today. So notice here, I don't know if you can see it, but my shoulder starts to come forward right when I do this. So I have to remind myself, firm my belly in, roll my shoulders up, back, and down. Good. And then interlacing the hands, pressing the palms in toward each other. Can you lift? Even if it's just an inch. Maybe 2. But firm the belly. Don't go into that back bend to lift the arms away. You're using the tricep muscles. You're opening through the front of the chest. Good. Take a few breaths here. You can also be with a strap just like this. Still getting into that shoulder area, those upper arms, the chest. Good, and release. Shake it out a little bit. Get a little pop there. Okay, now fist to fist, if you can. Fist to fist here. So elbows might want to go like this. Elbows might want to come in. So you're going to remind yourself, come back out, and just press the fist against each other, those knuckles, and just lift here. Notice in the body how it feels. And can you take the elbows closer and closer toward each other? Firm the belly, don't let those ribs poke out. Go ahead and breathe. And release down. Go ahead, shake it out a little bit. Feel better already. Okay. So we're going to come into one last posture on the ground before we start to wind down a little bit. We're going to work a little bit more with shoulder mobility. So now that our arms feel good and a little bit looser, this might feel a little bit easier on your body. So we're going to take a block, come down onto the back body, and bring that block with you. Feet on the mat, and block's going to come up toward the sky. and you're gonna reach with that block. So here we're shoulder distance, and we're gonna press the shoulder blades into the mat and reach that block up and over to the sky. And then back behind you. Good, so that the block touches the mat. And then bring it all the way back up. And release back behind you. Noticing how the body feels here. And release back up. And back behind you. And release back up. Last one. Back behind you. Nice and slow with these movements, really feeling the shoulder blades move onto the mat. And back. Good. Bring that block down. We're going to roll over to our side, come into one last restorative pose in the shoulders, and then we'll let the shoulders go. Okay, so we are going to come into a little bit of a back opener here. So I'm going to take my block, a chest opener. I'm going to take my block on a medium height and a low height. I have about a foot of space in between my blocks. This area is going to hold my shoulder blades. So the clear area between my blocks is going to be my shoulder blades. The tip of my shoulder blade is just going to be on top of this low block, and then my head is going to rest here. So you might have to manipulate these depending on how long your trunk is. You might have to shift them a little bit, but that's what you're going for. Shoulder blades are nice and free here. Head rests onto a block, and your the tips of your shoulders, the spine is here. So tips of the shoulders are away. You can do this with a medium and a high block if you would like. I like to go low, and then if I feel good, then I'll lift it up a little bit more. It will be more intense if you lift it up because this is just going to open up the spine a little bit more. However, if you're really tight in the shoulders, the chest, it might not be the best idea. So this is very similar to the posture we had before. I'm going to slowly from the belly roll back. I'm going to grab that block with my fingers. Notice my shoulder blades are out of the way. And then I'm going to have to move that to get into my head. I've done this posture so many more times than I can count, and I still will not get the block placement perfect. And then I'm going to take my arms out into a T position. Really open up through the chest. Now you have an option here to bend the knees, keep the knees bent if your lower back might have some sensitivity, or you can extend the legs here. Feeling a big shoulder opening. Nice smooth breath here. So now for me, this feels actually really comfortable to be here. It feels very, very heart opening, very releasing. So I think I'm going to take mine up a notch and see how that feels for my body. And if I don't like it, if it's too much, then I'm going to come back down. Oh, that feels good. Okay. And the option here too, because this is a big chest opener, you could have blocks or rolled up blankets or whatever you have underneath the hands if the hands aren't meeting the mat. You do want the hands to meet the mat because you want to be able to let go and just let the blocks hold you up. The mat is holding you up, and you're releasing the energy and the effort from the body. If at any time this feels uncomfortable or it feels like it's too much, you just place the hands onto the belly, or you can come down onto a lower setting, or you come down completely. I'm just taking a few more moments here. Really releasing, opening the chest, letting the shoulder heads feel very heavy toward the mat. And when you're ready, hands onto the belly, bend the knees, and Start to roll off to one side, shift the hips, and get those blocks out of the way. Okay, I do want to do one last shoulder opener, but it feels really good. So I thought about it and I said, you know what? We're here, we're gonna do it, right? Arms out, T position, roll onto the belly. Now, if this is uncomfortable for your chest, if you're larger chested, you can roll up a towel and place it into an upside down U and place the clavicle onto the towel, so that way it just gives you a little bit of lift in the chest. That might be just enough for you there. If it feels okay for you to come down onto the mat, you're going to take the forehead down and then fingertips onto the mat. We're going to go with the left side first. So onto the right ear, rotate the head. You're going to take the left leg up and over toward the back. Now, arms are in a T position, so you might feel some type of movement or opening into the right shoulder here. Take a few breaths. If that leg does not touch the ground, that's okay. You can put a block under that. You can put a bolster, whatever you have at home. Good, bring it back. Forehead down and switch sides. Left ear, right leg, up and over. Nice little spinal twist, a little release here. And back to center. Good. Press into the hands. Lift the body up here. Onto hands and knees. We're going to come into a seated posture before we release down onto the mat. Just to let go, start to cool the body. Onto a block or a bolster if you'd like. We're just going to reach for those toes. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale. Hands come onto the toes, the shins, the mat, whatever they'd like. That chest here, you can round a little bit. But see if you can open up through the back of the legs so there's not so much hunching and rounding, right? For this practice, we're trying to do the opposite of that. So I'm just going to keep my hands on to either side of me and reach forward. Good. Take a few breaths and release. And I think we're going a little bit over our 30 minutes as I promised, but you know, as you start moving, a teacher's brain starts to really want to make sure that we're getting everything in. Go ahead and come on up off the block, and then we'll come on down to the mat, onto the back. We just want to make sure that we're getting everything in, and sometimes our plan changes. Go ahead and roll in, knees to chest. Give yourself a little Apanasana, rock side to side on the spine, if you'd like. Good. And then release, feet down onto the mat, and we'll extend arms, extend legs, come into a little Shavasana, corpse pose, arms away from the body, legs away from the body. Just give ourselves a few moments here to fully release. Eyes closed. If it's cold in your space, you might consider a blanket, some socks, an eye pillow. Letting your intention for your practice pass through your mind once again. And giving yourself a moment here to honor the body, the mind, the breath. Taking a deeper breath here, fill the belly up. And release. Maybe out through the mouth. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Bend the knees, place the feet onto the mat. You can roll to one side, pause there for a moment until you're ready to press yourself up. Coming into a comfortable seat, anything that feels good for you and your body. And if you'd like to bring the hands together toward the heart, you can. Noticing how the upper body feels here. How the lower body feels. How the mind feels. And how the spirit feels. Thank you for practicing with me today. It is an honor to teach. It's an honor to practice. Inviting me into your home. And hopefully we feel a little bit different in a good way after our practice. If you'd like to bow the chin to the chest, you can. Namaste. Thank you for coming.